So Brian White is here because I asked him if he would be willing to just come loaded for bear on all the evidence that we have that Robotaxi is going to come out tomorrow night and really go, or contrarian, the opposite. No, we're still weeks or months away. So, Brian, I'll let you start, and then I'll just poke holes in everything you say.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Well, you asked me, would you be okay talking about Robotaxi? And that must have been a joke. You just asked an 8-year-old if he wants to talk about Minecraft. You asked a 13-year-old if he wants to talk about D&D or Magic the Gathering. Yes, Randy, I'm here to talk Robotaxi, and more specifically, Cybercab. You can, put them under the same umbrella if you'd like. But really what we're talking about is Cybercab because it's the new product. A robotaxi that never gets deployed, pull some stuff out, sell it as a car. It's fine. Somebody will buy it. It's still a car. But Cybercab has one purpose and it needs to fill that purpose. How close is Cybercab? Well, they're producing them at volume. And you can say, well, we saw 102 on the lot in Texas just a couple days ago. We saw 50 in a storage lot in Dallas. And the big news I saw on Monday, Herbert caught this, the certificate of compliance.
The EPA, yes.
Yeah. The certificate of compliance has been completed. The vehicle has been certified for deployment. And that means also for sale. Obviously, you can have them internally with manufacturer plates. I imagine there's a limit to how many manufacturer plates you're allowed to have at any given time, though I've never seen a manufacturer push it to that extreme that it became an issue. So I would say that the fact that we're seeing so many deployed is an opportunity, regardless of what you say it means. If you think that we're still months or years away from deployment, weeks, absolutely, could be weeks, sure. But if you think we're months or high months, that we're going to end up with tens of thousands of parked cars that we can't turn on and turn into revenue generating machines, this is an opportunity for you to short the stock and make money. Not financial advice. Don't do that. And definitely don't make financial moves based on anything that I say or Randy says. We're here we are the library. We are not the mechanics, actually doing the work. People are licensed for that. Go talk to them. Go talk to them. And then you'll realize those guys have a license to not know what they're talking about because a lot of them don't. So what I would say is what we're seeing is movement. We're seeing manufacturing. We're seeing it roll out slowly. We're seeing them deployed, but shipped out but not deployed on the street. This is, to me, a very clear sign that autonomy is going to go wider. And it appears that, at least in the handful of states where permits have already been issued, the scale, the limit to the scale is not the regulators. It's Tesla's own internal comfort level.
So some people have been arguing, but none of the ones that are sitting in Dallas, the ones we've seen in Las Vegas, the ones that we've seen on the lot, they all have steering wheels and they all have regular discs on the wheel. What do you call them? The covers. The wheel covers are just the normal instead of the really cool ones for Cybercab. You pay a lot more attention than me to these flyovers and whatnot that are happening all the time. Are we seeing cars without steering wheels and
tons?
Okay.
We're seeing tons. We're seeing absolutely tons. It could be that every road must be driven once with someone behind the wheel. And if that's the case, wouldn't you like to have 30 so you could bang out a city in a couple days instead of months or years? We don't require millimeter precision LiDAR the way some companies have decided to implement that crutch. So it would be reasonable to assume that that you could either remove the wheel, because we know it's very easy to do that. They are not placed in any sort of a permanent way, or that these could just be a small swarm of validation vehicles. None of that part concerns me. Tesla is paying very little to manufacture these. And if these ones went back to the scrap heap, they wouldn't just crush the whole car. They would take out all the good bits, the motors, the battery, the the compute, all of the things that actually make the car expensive, they'd take the wheels off of it. They'd take the suspension off and just crush the frame, because all that other stuff is worth a lot more to just remove it and put it on another one.
So we know that there's a tremendous amount of, well, okay. So it's one thing to park a whole bunch of vehicles in different lots and who knows where because you're not ready to go yet. It's another thing to park a whole bunch of bodies that they've hired all over the world now and just have those people sit there waiting and waiting and waiting for the robotaxi thing to happen where they will be providing value. I'm sure that they've got something for them to do in the meantime, but the real value is going to come when the thing is turned on. So wouldn't that be another piece of evidence that this thing is getting pretty close?
I mean, aren't we seeing that? Yeah, I mean, that's a big clue. If you needed to get 30, 40, 100 drivers today in one market, they're not going to carry passengers. They just have to sit behind the wheel and make sure the vehicle doesn't do anything crazy on a route that the vehicle already has planned. Each vehicle would be given the route and a human would just hop in and sit there. What you'd do is you'd bring in 100 Uber drivers, pay them double, triple what they normally make for 1 or 2 days, give them an hour training video followed by a quiz, throw them in the car, let the car do its thing, and you're done. And by the way, if you're going to be in Houston tomorrow, we're going to be doing it there as well. You're already certified. Head up to Houston. Heck, we'll throw you in a cab and drive you up there ourselves if we have to.
Into a cab.
Yeah, into one of these. One of these. Send it up. It's close enough. It'll reach. So, yeah.
All right. So we also see buildings going up. We see
Las Vegas. Is that the one you're talking about? Las Vegas has a new Robotaxi cleaning and service center with groundbreaking that's already happened. I saw someone tell me, well, if this was serious, wouldn't we see these everywhere? I said, it's a miracle we saw this one. How do you see new buildings going up? Have you ever driven by something and gone, Panera? I don't know. No one knows. A lot of times the signs out front are just for the construction company until it's done. And then it's open and you're like, wow, okay, interesting. A brand new Marshalls or Burlington. We got a new Burlington in my town. Went in to look at their coats. They didn't have any.
No coats.
No, it's Burlington Wow. And I guess the wow means, wow, you guys don't have coats?
I see. Okay. So what else are we seeing that would give us a hint? Possibly I think they showed a Cybercab with the LiDAR setup on the top.
Proof they're going to have LiDAR. That's not how it works, guys.
No, I know, but in other words, they had an actual Cybercab though doing ground, truth, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That is another indicator, but I think we're seeing fewer of those because it's already been done.
Okay.
Beyond that, I don't know.
How do we feel about FSD 14.3.4? Do you have it? And do you think it's an indication of getting very, very close because of the great communication between the passenger and the what do you call it, the screen?
I don't have 14.3.3.4. I have 14.3.3 or 3. I have the previous one. And I'm no longer excited about the point releases because it works. I mean, there was a time when every month you could go out and buy a new computer and it would be remarkably better, noticeably better than last month. And then we reached a point maybe 15-ish years ago where you'd go in 6 months later and you're like, well, it's a little better, but I'm actually good. And then you could keep computers for years. That's where I think FSD is. I'm excited for the updates, surely, but I don't sit there and hit refresh every day and check to see if I got it because the one I have works. I will say the navigation is genuinely terrible. It's still routing me around the backs of buildings and taking me ways that make no sense at all. But if no one's in the car, I don't notice. I just know if it got to where it's going or not. And if I'm in the car, but I'm not the driver, I'm not going to notice.
Yeah.
I'm not going to notice.
Yeah.
So
And
what I really want to see, and I'm confident we will with maybe 15, is remember my parking. Remember where I park at home, because I've seen people say sometimes it backs in so I can charge, other times it doesn't. I broke my streak. But really, in my driveway, I need to pull another 3 feet or passengers can't get out
oh,
because they're blocked.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I will disengage at the end of every drive or trap my passengers. Honestly, I'm fine either way. I can get out, but this is something that will need to be addressed. And again, I really think that it's trained on cabbies who are just trying to drive up the fare a little bit. No, I think it's a known problem. They're trying to make it navigate more organically, and there's a learning curve to that, which they are addressing.
Yeah, I think I don't know if it's that what do you want to call it, nuanced, but the new version, Grok is supposed to be very, very even what'd you call it? He Grok is actually starting the conversation. We're almost to your destination. These are not the
Mm.
words, but something like we're almost to your destination, street or driveway. And then I don't know if it's nuanced enough to have it park in your driveway and you go, oh, I would have rather you backed in, or oh, could you move up three more feet so that my passengers can get out, or oh, could you remember this for the next time? I don't know. I don't think those nuances are there yet, but we're moving in that direction at least.
I appreciate that they're taking a gradual, step-by-step implementation of Grok in the car. You don't want it to go fast enough that it can do something dangerous,
Right.
and you don't know all the things it can do because it's new. It there's no code to read and know that you need to delete this one feature, because that's not how neural nets work. I yeah, am looking forward to Grok getting a little smarter. I did have a situation where I was using Grok on the PC, and I asked about some breaking story someone had told me about that turned out to not be uh, relevant yet. That wasn't a thing. It was a rumor. I checked. It's not true. And it ended with, would you like me to keep an eye out on this for you and let you know if anything changes? And I said, absolutely. And it said, okay, I just checked. No. Like, well, that's not, it's fine. It's fine. You had my hopes up. Because I was like, am I going to get a notification in a couple of days going, by the way, I checked. Here it is. I don't think it's there yet. It was
Oh,
really
yeah,
had my hopes up.
there's so many weird things on Grok that drive me nuts. So you can finish you're writing an article and you want to put it up on Google Docs, or you want to save it somewhere else, and you'll say, so Grok, could you please uh, move this to Google Docs? And he'll go, yeah.
Did you?
But did you?
No,
No, because I can't.
because I can't. But I can tell you, I mean,
I
what
can
you
tell you
wanted
that
me
I
to say?
can't.
Yes. My phone last night, I said, set a reminder for an appointment I had today.
Yeah.
And my Google Pixel phone said, oh, I'd love to, but you have to set up Gemini and approve all the terms. And,
Oh.
I'm like, you're making the whole point of this stupid phone. I mean, I will never buy another Google Pixel. Never. Because all the little things that promise it can do, it can't.
And
As a phone, as any old smartphone, it works great. But I didn't buy it because it was any old smartphone. I bought it because MKBHD said it was great, and he lied to me.
he lied
So
again.
again, so it's, the whole point of the AI assistant. Great. Don't use the AI assistant. Just use the regular one and set a reminder. Nah, nope. Nope. I'm going to need you to take a bunch of steps, and I'm not going to tell you how to do it.
Okay, so Jeff Lutz says he thinks that because it's been almost a week since he said it, so he thinks that the Robotaxi will come out between 1 and 5 weeks.
Okay.
So, how do you feel about Jeff Lutz's estimate?
It seems reasonable, but when it comes to something that hasn't been done before, you gotta wait to see it till you believe it. It's got to happen. It's like a lot of things. I was asked the other day, what will you please do a show on small modular reactors? They're getting a lot of interest these days. And I haven't responded to it yet, but my response is this. When I was first reading about small modular reactors, I was excited. They're going to be smaller. They're going to be more affordable. They're going to be mass produced, and they're going to be out realistically within about 5 years. Unfortunately, that was 35 years ago. And after 5 years, the promises were renewed and renewed and renewed. And just like Toyota solid state batteries, I'm at a show me the money moment. I don't care what you have to say. If it works, you don't need my love and support.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, my love and support will not help you. So I don't know. There are obstacles that are inherent to what it is, to its nature, that apparently are immutable. And I can't speak to what they are. I can just tell you that I burnt out on my passion for this seemingly impossible thing a long time ago.
So I think one of the things somebody said yesterday, they were talking, I can't remember who it was who said this, it might have been Brad Gertzner, but I'm not positive, said, well, you know, with your Grok, it is 95% right or 96% right. You know, it gets things right 97% of the time, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
There's a number. And you may not be happy that it only gets it right that often, but you can still work with it. With Cybercab, it has to be 99, at least 0.9, maybe 0.99. You know, not just on the safety side, but as Elon was talking about, on the customer convenience side, you don't want people being turned off like you are right now about your smartphone.
There was a situation, I think it was Jim, the Iowa Tesla guy. It might have been Tech Geek Tesla, but I think it was Jim Spencer, who was going to an event in Austin. He took the Robotaxi with a safety hitchhiker in the front, who the car pulled into the driveway before the food court kind of bar place. And this is someone's driveway. There's a couple houses in here and they're looking at us, and the car's like, get out. And Jim talks to the driver, and then he pokes the screen. He's like, this is the wrong place. You need to move me. And you need to move me quick, because this is really uncomfortable. I am in their space. They are not happy. And of course, he could see the pin moved on the map. Someone back at HQ did that. That's part of that 1% or 3% fail rate, because like you said, it's not just catastrophic failures. We're not talking about safety. Those need to be approaching 100%, right. But the comfort and convenience things as well. I don't mind that my taxi drops me off a little farther from the door than I would like. There are practical reasons why the space in front of the entrance is not available. Mm-hmm. Don't make me hike a quarter mile.
Yeah, right.
And
it might be good for me. And, you know, right? Grok would say, I did this because you need some additional exercise.
Because you told me you want additional exercise. Right. Ask me. Say, can I park way out in the back so that you can ask? That's coming. I hope that's coming. I'm confident it is. But I have not had my car, even with its disappointing navigation, try to drop me somewhere absurdly far from my destination. Just not where I would have parked.
All right. Well, we're all waiting for the great come and get it day when Robotaxi begins to really start to put the numbers out there, and maybe the stock return. Oh, you've got one more thought.
I do have one more thought. It is that the fact that we're seeing the EPA certificate means it is one step closer to being sold.
Sold. Yeah.
Yeah. So Marquez, get them clippers sharpened up, baby.
But you know, our buddy Farzad won't get his steering wheel, so forget it, right?
What is life even worth living?
Thank you, Brian, as always, for coming on, and to every one of you out there, it has been great talking to you.